Have you ever noticed how some people making $40,000 a year seem genuinely happier and more financially secure than others pulling in six figures? Maybe you know someone who drives a beat up Honda Civic but somehow always has money for the things that matter, while your neighbor with the brand new BMW is constantly stressed about bills. What if I told you that the difference between these two people isn't their bank account balance, or their credit score, or even their investment portfolio? The difference is something far more powerful and completely within your control. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time thinking about why some people build wealth effortlessly while others seem to sabotage themselves financially, no matter how much money they make. If you've ever wondered why your financial situation doesn't seem to match your income level, or if you're tired of feeling like you're running on a hamster wheel no matter how hard you work, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it ends up changing how you think about money. Here's something that might shock you. The biggest predictor of long-term financial success isn't your salary, your education level, or even the family you were born into. It's your mindset about money itself. And I'm not talking about some fluffy self-help nonsense here. I'm talking about documented psychological patterns that either create wealth or destroy it. Regardless of how much money flows through your hands, most people approach money completely backwards. They think the equation looks like this: more money equals more financial security, equals less stress, equals happiness. But here's the brutal truth that most financial advisors won't tell you because it doesn't sell expensive products. The equation actually works in reverse. Your mindset about money determines your financial behaviors, which determine your financial outcomes, which then reinforce your original mindset. It's a cycle that either builds wealth or keeps you broke. And most people are completely unaware they're even in it. Let me paint you a picture of what this looks like in real life. Person A makes $70,000 a year and believes that money is scarce, that rich people are greedy, and that they'll never have enough no matter what they do. This person hoards cash in low-yield savings accounts because investing feels too risky. They buy cheap products that break quickly because spending more upfront feels wasteful. They avoid opportunities that could increase their income because they don't believe they deserve success. Fast forward 10 years and they're still making roughly the same amount with virtually no assets to show for it. Person B makes the exact same $70,000 but believes that money is a tool for creating opportunities. They see wealthy people as examples of what's possible rather than enemies to resent. They understand that some level of risk is necessary for growth. This person invests consistently, buys quality items that last longer, and actively seeks ways to increase their value in the marketplace. 10 years later, they've doubled their income and built substantial wealth through compound growth. Same starting salary, completely different outcomes. The only difference was the software running between their ears. Now, you might be thinking, this sounds too simple to be true, but the psychology behind wealth building has been studied extensively, and the patterns are undeniable. Researchers have identified specific mindset differences between people who build wealth and those who don't. And here's the fascinating part. These differences show up long before anyone gets rich. The wealthy mindset creates the wealth, not the other way around. One of the most powerful studies on this topic followed thousands of people over several decades, tracking both their financial outcomes and their beliefs about money. What they discovered was mind-blowing. Like, people with what researchers called an abundance mindset consistently outperform those with a scarcity mindset, even when controlling for factors like education, starting income, and family background. But here's where it gets really interesting. Like, the researchers found that mindset wasn't just correlated with financial success. It was actually predictive. Like, they could look at someone's beliefs about money at age 25 and predict with remarkable accuracy what their net worth would be at age 55. Think about that for a moment. Your current thoughts about money are literally programming your financial future right now, whether you realize it or not. So, what exactly separates the wealthy mindset from the broke mindset? Let's start with something fundamental, kind of how you view money itself. People with a broke mindset see money as inher or currently evil peating. They believe that wanting money makes you greedy or shallow. They think wealth is a zero-sum game where someone else has to lose for them to win. This creates massive psychological resistance to actually building wealth because deep down, they don't want to become the type of person they vise. People have been taught to desp with a wealthy mindset, see money as morally neutral. It's a tool that amplifies whatever values you already have. They understand that money gives you more options to help others, support causes you care about, and create positive impact in the world. They see wealth creation as a positive sum game where everyone can benefit from innovation and value creation. Here's a perfect example of how this plays out in real life. I know someone who consistently turns down promotions at work because they don't want their coworkers to think they're getting too big for their britches. Like they've literally programmed themselves to stay poor because they're more afraid of social judgment than they are motivated by financial improvement. Meanwhile, their colleague who started at the same company on the same day has been promoted 3 times and now makes twice as much, simply because they believed they deserved success and weren't afraid to pursue it. Another massive mindset difference is how people think about problems and obstacles. Those with a broke mindset see problems as evidence that they're not cut out for success. Every setback confirms their belief that wealth building is too hard or not meant for people like them. They give up at the first sign of difficulty and then use that failure as proof that they were right all along. And so those with a wealthy mindset see problems as puzzles to solve. They understand that obstacles are not roadblocks, but rather the price of admission to the next level. When they encounter difficulties, they ask better questions like, how can I solve this? Or what can I learn from this situation? Instead of, why does this always happen to me? This difference in problem-solving approach creates dramatically different outcomes over time. The person who quits at the first obstacle never develops the skills needed to build wealth. The person who persists through challenges becomes stronger, smarter, and more capable with each problem they solve. But perhaps the most important mindset difference is how people think about time and delayed gratification. This is where the psychology of wealth gets really fascinating, and it's something that most people completely misunderstand. People with a broke mindset are trapped in what psychologists call present bias. They consistently overvalue immediate rewards and undervalue future benefits. They'll spend money they don't have on things they don't need to impress people they don't like, all because the immediate gratification feels more real than the long-term consequences. People with a wealthy mindset have developed the ability to delay gratification in service of larger future rewards. They understand that every financial decision is really a choice between their current self and their future self, and they consistently choose to benefit their future self, even when it requires sacrifice today. This isn't about being cheap or depriving yourself of everything enjoyable. It's about being intentional with your choices and understanding that true wealth is built through thousands of small decisions over time, not through one big lucky break. The beautiful thing about mindset is that unlike your income or your background, it's completely within your control to change. But here's the catch that most people don't realize. Changing your mindset about money requires more than just positive thinking or reading inspirational quotes. Your brain has literally been wired through years of experience, cultural messaging, and repeated thought patterns to think about money in a specific way. Simply deciding to think differently isn't enough. You need to actively rewire those neural pathways through deliberate practice and new experiences. Here's where most people go wrong when they try to change their money mindset. They focus on the symptoms instead of the root cause. They'll start budgeting or investing or reading personal finance books, but they never address the underlying beliefs that cause their financial problems in the first place. It's like trying to treat a fever without addressing the infection. You might get temporary relief, but the real problem is still there. The first step to developing a wealthy mindset is becoming aware of your current programming. Most people have no idea what they actually believe about money because these beliefs operate at a subconscious level. They're like background music that's been playing so long, you don't even notice it anymore. Start paying attention to the automatic thoughts that pop into your head when you see someone driving an expensive car or living in a nice house. Do you immediately assume they must be in debt or that they got their money through shady means? Do you feel resentment or admiration? These knee-jerk reactions reveal your true beliefs about wealth in successful people. Listen to the language you use when talking about money. Do you say things like, money doesn't grow on trees, or the rich get richer while the poor get poor? These phrases might, or I can't afford that, seem harmless, but they're actually programming your subconscious mind to see money as scarce and wealth as unattainable. Now, I'm not suggesting you should start lying to yourself or pretending everything is fine when it's not. If you genuinely can't afford something, acknowledge that reality, but there's a huge difference between saying, I can't afford that and I'm choosing not to spend money on that right now, or that's not a priority for me based on my current goals. The first statement programs helplessness. The second programs choice and control. Here's something that will probably make you uncomfortable, but it needs to be said. One of the biggest obstacles to developing a wealthy mindset is the people around you. If you're surrounded by individuals who constantly complain about money, blame external circumstances for their financial problems, and view successful people with suspicion, their mindset is contagious. You literally become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And this is especially true when it comes to money beliefs. If your social circle consists of people who think investing is gambling, who believe the system is rigged against regular folks, and who spend every dollar they earn, you're going to have a very hard time developing different beliefs and behaviors. This doesn't mean you need to abandon your friends and family, but it does mean you need to be intentional about exposing yourself to different perspectives. Start consuming content created by people who have successfully built wealth. Read books written by individuals who've overcome financial challenges, listen to podcasts featuring entrepreneurs and investors who started from modest backgrounds. The goal isn't to become someone you're not. The goal is to expand your understanding of what's possible and how wealth actually gets created in the real world. Another crucial aspect of developing a wealthy mindset is changing your relationship with failure and setbacks. In our culture, financial mistakes are often treated as moral failures rather than learning experiences. Someone loses money on an investment and they're labeled as reckless, a business fails, and the entrepreneur is seen as foolish for taking the risk in the first place. This fear of judgment keeps millions of people trapped in financial mediocrity because they're more afraid of failing than they are motivated to succeed. They stick with the guaranteed poverty of their current situation rather than risk the potential failure that might come with trying something new. Wealthy people understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It's a necessary component of success. Every successful investor has made bad investments. Every successful entrepreneur has failed at multiple ventures. The difference is they didn't let those failures define them or stop them from continuing to take calculated risks. When you develop a wealthy mindset, you start to see failures as tuition payments for your financial education. Each mistake teaches you something valuable that makes you smarter for the next opportunity. This reframe is incredibly powerful because it removes the emotional sting from setbacks and allows you to learn from them instead of being paralyzed by them. Let me share a story that perfectly illustrates this principle. I know someone who bought their first rental property and lost money on it for 2 years straight. The tenant destroyed the place, the repairs cost more than expected, and the whole experience was stressful and expensive. Someone with a broke mindset would have concluded that real estate investing doesn't work and never tried again. But this person had developed a wealthy mindset. Instead of giving up, they analyzed what went wrong, learned from their mistakes, and bought a second property with better tenant screening and more realistic repair budgets. That second property cash flowed from day one. They now own 7 rental properties and generate more passive income than most people earn at their jobs. The difference wasn't intelligence or luck, it was mindset. They viewed the initial failure as education rather than evidence that they weren't cut out for real estate investing. Here's another mindset shift that can transform your financial future. Start thinking like an owner instead of a consumer. Most people approach every financial decision by asking, how much does this cost? Wealthy people ask, what's the return on this investment? This doesn't mean you should try to make money off everything you buy. Sometimes the return is purely personal satisfaction or convenience, and that's perfectly fine. But training yourself to think in terms of value and return rather than just cost completely changes how you make decisions. For example, someone with a consumer mindset sees a $1,000 course on digital marketing and focuses on how expensive it is. Someone with an owner mindset asks whether the knowledge from that course could help them increase their income by more than $1,000. If the answer is yes, the course isn't an expense, it's an investment. This owner mentality extends to how you think about your career as well. Employees focus on getting paid for their time. Owners focus on creating systems and assets that generate income without requiring their constant presence. Even if you work for someone else, you can develop an owner mentality by thinking about how to increase your value in the marketplace and create multiple income streams. The psychology of wealth isn't just about making more money, though. It's about developing a healthier, more sustainable relationship with money that serves your actual values and goals rather than sabotaging them. People with a wealthy mindset understand that money is a means to an end, not the end itself. They're clear about why they want to build wealth and what they plan to do with it once they have it. This clarity makes it much easier to make the daily sacrifices and long-term commitments required for wealth building because they're connected to a larger purpose. Without this sense of purpose, building wealth can feel empty and meaningless. You might accumulate money, but you won't feel fulfilled or satisfied. Worse, you might unconsciously sabotage your own efforts because deep down, you don't have a compelling reason to succeed. Think about it this way. If someone offered you $1 million right now, but told you that you could never spend a single penny of it, never give any of it away, and never use it to improve your life in any meaningful way, would you still want it? Of course not. The money itself is worthless. What we actually want is what money can do for us. This is why some people who achieve financial success still feel empty and unfulfilled. They focus so intensely on accumulating wealth that they never figured out what they actually wanted from life. They won the game, but forgot why they were playing in the first place. On the flip side, when you're crystal clear about your values and goals, every financial decision becomes easier. You're not just choosing between spending money today or saving it for tomorrow. You're choosing between competing visions of your future self. That clarity makes delayed gratification feel less like deprivation and more like progress towards something meaningful. But here's where things get really interesting, and it's something that most financial advice completely ignores. Your money mindset doesn't just affect your bank account, it affects every area of your life because it reflects your deeper beliefs about scarcity, abundance, self-worth, and what you deserve. People who struggle with money often struggle with boundaries and relationships. They have trouble saying no to requests that don't serve them. They undercharge for their services or accept less than they're worth because they don't believe they deserve better. They give too much of themselves to others while neglecting their own needs. Sound familiar? These aren't separate issues. They're all symptoms of the same underlying problem, a scarcity mindset that says there's not enough to go around, so you better grab what you can and be grateful for whatever scraps you get. When you develop a wealthy mindset, you start operating from abundance instead of scarcity. You understand that there's enough success, love, opportunity, and yes, money for everyone. This doesn't make you selfish or greedy. It actually makes you more generous because you're not giving from a place of fear or depletion. I know this might sound a bit touchy-feely for a video about money, but stick with me because this is where the rubber meets the road. Your relationship with money is inseparable from your relationship with yourself. If you don't believe you're worthy of financial success, you'll unconsciously sabotage every opportunity that comes your way. Maybe you'll procrastinate on important financial tasks. Maybe you'll make impulsive purchases that derail your savings goals. Maybe you'll turn down opportunities for advancement because you don't feel qualified. Maybe you'll price your services too low because charging what you're actually worth feels uncomfortable. These aren't character flaws or lack of willpower. They're protective mechanisms designed to keep you safe from the discomfort of challenging your existing beliefs about what you deserve. Look, changing your money mindset isn't going to happen overnight, and it definitely won't happen by just watching this video. But here's the thing. Every wealthy person started exactly where you are right now, wondering if they had what it takes. The difference is they decided their thoughts about money were worth examining. Your paycheck might determine your current lifestyle, but your mindset determines your financial future. The choice is yours.